Wow, that was a long journey, but here we are in Wyoming to find the last known seesaw. There she is. Wow. Wow. There she is.
What are you doing on my property?
Shh. Shh. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta go. Oh hey, I didn't see you there. Are you in the mood to learn about seesaws for 10 minutes? Neither am I, but here we are. Seesaw. This here is the seesaw, also known as a teeter-totter, a teeter-board, a common piece of playground equipment, and a simple machine. A simple machine is a basic tool that uses force to get work done. Humans have been using these puppies for years. All a seesaw is a long board balanced on a fixed support in the middle. People are able to sit on either end or stand if they're feeling daring. With a person on each end, they are able to move up and down by alternating which ways they push or jump off their feet. When I go down, Callie goes up, and when Callie goes down, I go up. She pushes, I jump. She pushes, I jump. It's a fun process, wouldn't you say?
Oh yes, Shannon. What a workout. What a grand old time, Shannon.
My favorite thing to do as a kid was stand in the middle because due to unequilibrium here, there's a good chance I wasn't coming down. The mechanics of a seesaw are also quite simple. Again, all it is a long teeter board fixed at a pivot point, most commonly in the midpoint between both ends. As one end is up, the other is down. What goes up must come down. A seesaw is a lever and a fulcrum. Don't know what those words mean? Neither did I. However, a lever is a simple machine. Consisting of a rigid bar pivoted on a fixed point and used to transmit force, like lifting a weight on one end while just moving the other end, man. A fulcrum is a pivot point around which a lever will turn or balance on. So, this is a fulcrum, while this is a lever.
I'm gonna make a bloopers clip.
This explains why the word lever comes from the word lift in Latin. Archimedes once famously quoted, "Give me a place to stand and put my lever on, and I can move the earth."
Welcome to the History of Seesaws 101.
The word origin comes from the early 1630s, where children and motion workers would repetitively chant "Seesaw, Sakusaw, Seesaw, Sakusaw.
Seesaw, Sakya. Yes.
They were probably imitating the back and forth motion of two men on a saw, cutting something like this. Reference to a game where children would play on a balanced board going up and down is as early as 1704. Is that the rain coming in? It's probably because it's time to bore you with some math. However, the math of seesaws is so easy that even I understand it. And we all know my physics grade. While most physics equations are too long to remember or just annoying, this one is easy as pie. Force of one object, in this case, person number 1 on one side of the seesaw, multiplied by the force of a second thing, which will be person number 2 on this side, equals something. The force of one object, in this case being person number 1 on one side, times the length from person 1 to the fixed pivot point must be equal to the force of the second object, person number 2, times the length of this from person 2 to the fixed pivot point. So the two sides must be equal in order to create equilibrium. Just in case you missed it in real life, here's it drawn out. Force 1 times length 1 must be equal to force 2 times length 2.
Thank you.
Another part of the math in seesaws is twerk.
Shannon, it's torque.
Oh, torque. Torque.
Boo!
Listen, I don't care for torque either, but it's necessary for seesaws, so we're gonna roll with it. Think about pushing a door, which is another kind of lever.
Shannon, you're not coming back.
If you push near the hinge, it's pretty difficult to open. However, if you push to the outside, que fácil. For those of you who speak English, that means
It's easy.
this is a result of the principle of torque.
Wow.
Torque is the rotational force exerted at right angles on the lever, times the distance between the point of force and the fulcrum.
Huh?
You might not get that, but let's make it easier. Let's say two children are on each ends of this seesaw and they weigh the same. The whole thing will be equal because they're exerting equal and oppositely directional forces on gravity. However, if a child is with an adult, the adult might have to move closer to the pivot point in order to achieve equilibrium. But if you have one of these new-fangled, awesome seesaws with these adjustable parts, and it's new because you see this fresh, rusty, ouch, I'm bleeding now, you can just move it depending on who's heavier on what side. Wow. A child might not be able to lift another child because kids are super weak. However, Thanks to seesaws, this little girl can lift a girl who ate too much Chipotle. I wasn't talking about myself. Hey little buddy, did you know that the federal government wants to rid the world of seesaws? Me too, kid. The federal government is knocking seesaws out of existence. Despite Michelle Obama's valiant efforts, childhood obesity is still at a high. And because of the federal government's so-called child safety playground development, yada yada yada, not just anybody can set up a playground these days, and that's a shame. Seesaws help build critical developmental aid. They build muscles. They're fun and safe. I mean, compared to slides.
Somebody call a paramedic.
Seesaws help build up a taut sense of balance. Like, I've been on a seesaw since I was 3. And that explains why I couldn't ride a bike until I was 5th grade. Plus, directly, the act of pushing yourself up and back down on the ground helps build muscles. It's natural squats. I don't get why they would ever want to get rid of this. As you can see, I haven't been hitting the seesaw lately because of the gosh darn government got rid of them all over the place. There's none in any playgrounds, and I had to come here to this small town village in East Wyoming. This is the only place you can find them in all of America. He just wants to be loved. Well, this was a lot. But now you know, the next time you see a seesaw, even if you have to drive all the way out to Wyoming, you better not take it for granted. Cherish seesaws. The fact that it's standing is a true testament to time, and it defies everything the government says. Cherish this simple machine, and may it live forever. Hello, are you in the market to learn about seesaws?